Hello guys and welcome back to my YouTube channel, The Techo. Glad that you're here watching this. This will be my new series that I'll be starting. It will be based on the CompTIA 8 Plus 1101. Um, this series would include chapter 1 through chapter 12 of all the review questions that come after the chapters. And in this video, in each video, I'll be going through all the questions, and of course I'll be providing you with the answers and a minor explanation as to why those are the right answers. Alright, let's dive into this video. Question 1 says, which computer component contains all the circuitry necessary for other components or devices to communicate with one another? A. Motherboard. B. CPU. C. RAM, also known as random access memory, or D. expansion bus. I'll give you guys a couple seconds to think about it and to answer that. The answer for this question is A. Motherboard. So the spine of the computer is the system board, which is also known as the motherboard. So on the motherboard you will find the CPU, underlying circuitry, expansion slots, video components, RAM slots, and various other chips. Alright, let's go on to the next question. Question number 2. You are told by a technician over the phone that you need to bring replacement DDR4 SDRAM memory. What type of packaging is used for DDR4 SDRAM? Alright. You have A. 224 pin DIMM, B. 240 DIMM, C. 288 DIMM pin DIMM, D. 296 pin DIMM. Alright. The answer for this question is C. 288 pin DIMM. So you have to know that the DDR4 SRAM is manufactured on a 288 pin DIMM. As well, if I'm going to explain the wrong answers, 224 pin DIMM and 296 pins do not exist. So DIMMs with 240 are for DDR2 and DDR3. Question 3. This has to do with RAM. You need to replace memory in a desktop OC and go to purchase RAM. When you are at the store, you need to find the appropriate type of memory. What memory chips would you find on a stick of PC3 16000? A. DDR2000, B. DDR3 2000, C. DDR3 1600, D. PC3 2000. And the answer for this is B. DDR3 2000. So you have to understand the chips module, and you have to remember the 8-to-1 rule, because modules greater than but not including SDRAM are named with a number 8 times larger than the number used to name the chips on the module. Alright, on to the next question. Alright, this has to do with cases. A client wants you to build a new PC for her with a smaller case and lower power requirements. When selecting a motherboard, which form factor should you choose for a smaller size and lower power consumption? So remember what the question says. Which form factor should you choose for a smaller? You have to think small form factor. Alright, you have A, ATX, B, AT, C, DTX, and D, ITX. The answer is D, ITX. So the ITX motherboard family consists of smaller boards that fit in a standard or miniatured cases and use less power than larger counterparts. So for this build, you will have to go with an ITX. 5. A motherboard failed on a desktop PC with an Intel Core i5 10600K processor. When you are looking for a replacement motherboard, which CPU socket does it need to have? A, LGA 1366, B, LGA 1150, C, LGA 1150, and D, LGA 1700. I'll give you guys a couple seconds to answer this. Alright, so the answer for this is actually LG 1200 socket. I made a mistake and wrote LG 1150 instead. Sorry about that. Alright, you have number 6 says you have just replaced a processor in a computer and now need to add a cooling mechanism. What should you use to attach the cooling system to the processor? A, heatsink, B, thermal paste, C, fan, D, super glue. Take your time with this. So remember what the question says. What should you use to attach the cooling system to the processor? And the answer for this question is B, thermal paste. If you haven't heard about thermal paste, or if you know what it is, it's used to attach heat sinks and fans to processors. Number 7. Technician asks you how to get a computer processor to run faster than it currently does. What are they trying to achieve? So what are they trying to do with the computer's processor? Alright, you have A, hyper-threading, B, overclocking, C, virtualization, D, multi-core support. Of course, I'll give you a couple seconds. And the answer for this question is B, overclocking. So overclocking refers to setting the speed of the processor to run faster than it was rated for. Number 8. You are assembling a new computer and looking at new cooling systems. Which of the following cooling systems requires the use of a pump? Remember that, a pump. A, liquid, B, thermal paste, C, heatsink, D, heatsink plus fan? The answer to this question is A, liquid. So liquid cooling systems require a pump to circulate the liquid. It wouldn't be thermal paste because of course the pump and thermal paste don't go together. Heat sink, not at all. You have to read the question carefully and just go for that right answer. Go with the gut. 9. Which of the following types of processors will likely generally be preferred for mobile devices? Mobile devices only. This is question 9. You have A, x64, B, x86, C, ARM, D, LGA. Remember the questions? Remember the question that it says that is preferred for mobile devices. When you think about mobile devices, you're thinking small. So the answer for this question is C, ARM. So ARM processors generate less heat than x64 and x86. Therefore, it's a better option for mobile phones because it's smaller and it doesn't produce as much heat. Question 10. You press the front power button on a computer and the system boots. Later, you press it briefly and then the system hibernates. When you press it again, the system resumes. You press and hold the button and the system shuts down. What is this feature called? A, programmable power, B, soft power, C, relay power, D, hot power. The answer to this question is B, soft power. So this is a feature where the front power button acts as a relay to initiate various system power changes. Question 11 says, you are training new technicians to install RAM and pointing out differences between pack ages. Which of the following are the numbers of pins that can be found on DIMM modules used in desktop motherboards? Choose 2. You have A, 180, B, 184, C, 200, D, 204, E, 232, F, 240. I'll give you guys a couple seconds for that. B, 184, F, 240. So DIMMs used in desktop motherboards applications have one of 4 possible pin counts. SDR SRAM is implemented on 168 pin modules. DDR SRAM is implemented on 184 pin modules. DDR2 and DDR3 are implemented on 240 pin modules. And last but not least, DDR4 and DDR5 DIMMs have 288 pins. Question 12. You are installing a new computer and the user wants to use virtualization. Which hardware components need to support virtual technology for this to work properly? Choose 2. A, RAM, B, motherboard, C. CPU, D. BIOS. Answers are C and D, CPU and BIOS. So for virtualization to work, you will need the CPU and the BIOS to support it. Question number 13. You find out that a disgruntled ex-employee's computer has a boot password that must be entered before the operating system is ever loaded. There is also a password preventing your access to the BIOS utility. Which of the following motherboard components can most likely be used to return the computer to a state that will allow you to boot the system without knowing the password? You have A. Cable header. C. Toggle switch. D. Jumper. Power reset connect. The answer for this question is D. A jumper. So a jumper will be a mechanism that will allow you to clear the CMOS memory of any user settings, and it will cause the BIOS to use factory defaults. Number 14. Your core is fan has a 4-pin connector, but your motherboard only has a single 3-pin header with the CPU fan label. Which of the following will be the easiest solution to get the necessary cooling for your CPU? A. Plug the 4-pin connector into the 3-pin header. B. Buy a 4-pin to a 3-pin adapter. C. Leave the plug disconnected and use only the heatsink. D. Add an extra chassis fan. The answer for this question is A. Plug the 4-pin connector into the 3-pin header. By doing this, the missing pin allows you to control the speed of the fan. You are installing a new video card into a PCIe slot. What is the combined total throughput of a PCIe 2.0 times 16 slot or X16 slot? A. 500 Mbps. B. 100 Gbps. C. 16 Gbps. And D. 32 Gbps. It's supposed to be D. And of course, Mbps is megabytes and Gbps is gigabytes. The answer for this question is C. 16 gigabytes, so 16 Gbps. Number 16 says, which of the following allows you to perform the most complete restart of the computer without removing power? You have A. Start, restart. B. Start, hibernate. C. Reset button. D. Power button. The answer for this question is C. The reset button. So the reset button causes the computer to return to nearly the same point it is in when you power it on, but without the need for power cycling. 17 says, you have just found out that a new UEFI upgrade exists for your computer, and you obtain a copy on a flash drive to install it. Which of the following is most helpful when flashing the UEFI on a desktop computer system? A. DVD-ROM. B. Uninterruptible power supply. C. Internet connection. D. Windows administrator password. I'll read the question again. So, which of the following will be the most helpful when flashing the UEFI? So, what would help you? It would be B. Uninterruptible power supply. So, none of the other options are required, but the uninterruptible power supply is the most helpful because it, in case of loss of power, the 32 gigabytes of DDR4 memory has failed in a client's desktop computer. The client requests that you upgrade the system for better performance when replacing the RAM. Which of the following is not the best? Which of the following is the best option? A. Install 2 new 32 gigabyte DDR4 RAM modules. B. Install 2 new 128 gigabyte DDR4 RAM modules. C. Install 2 new 32 gigabytes DDR5 RAM modules. D. Install 2 new 128 gigabyte DDRS RAM modules. This answer is A. Install 2 new 32 gigabyte DDR4 RAM modules. When you're going to upgrade RAM on a motherboard, you will always have to check the documentation for the motherboard to see what RAM it supports. And in this case, this motherboard supports DDR4. So what you will do is just install 2 new 32 gigabyte DDR RAM modules. That will be the best option, best way to do it. Number 19. You are replacing an HP laptop's motherboard. Which type of motherboard should you use? A. ATX. B. AT. C. One for the specific model. D. Mini ITX. Answer for this question is C. One for the specific model. So, rephrasing what I said from the last question, to look at the documentation, you will also have to look at the documentation of the laptop to see what type of motherboard you will need for that specific HP laptop. So, therefore, the answer will be one for the specific model. Next question will be the last question, number 20. You need to install a new video card into a desktop computer. What type of expansion slot is preferred today for high performance graphics adapters? You have A. AGP. B. PCIe. C. PCI. And D. SATA. So, what type of expansion slot is preferred today for high performance graphics adapters? The answer for this question will be B, PCIe. So PCIe is the newest and fastest slot for video cards. AGP and PCI are legacy technologies, which they're not commonly used because, of course, we have a new expansion slot, PCIe. And SATA is for hard drives. Alright guys, this is the end of the video. I thank you for watching. If you stuck through the whole video, if you watched the whole video, thank you. And of course there's more coming, just be patient. And of course I'll upload more videos regarding the CompTIA Plus because I'm currently studying for it. So if you have any feedback or any comments, be sure to leave it down in the comments, or just be sure to leave it down in the comments and I'll read it and I'll see what I can change and what I can do and what other things I can post as well to help us pass the CompTIA Plus. Thank you for watching, and of course, like and subscribe and share.